And it's some update coming in from the TMC as far as the vice president election is concerned. TMC is all set to abstain in the vice president elections. That's the big development coming in. After the president election has been taken by the NDA candidate, vice president election, of course, is a very crucial one, keeping in mind that Jagdeep Dhankar is the candidate from the side of the NDA. Let me cut across to my colleague Sougata, who's with us on the broadcast, getting us more details on the story. Sougata, over to you. Help us understand this decision of the TMC.
Well, you see, the meeting of the Trinamool Congress Parliamentary Party is still going on, in the middle of which Abhishek Banerjee and Sudip Bandyopadhyay had come out to brief the press, to appraise the media about the decision that has been taken about the vice president election. And that decision, as far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned, is to abstain from voting. The reason that Abhishek Banerjee has cited at this point in time, that there were some 33 MPs of the Trinamool Congress out of the total 35 who participated in today's meeting, and 85% of those MPs had opined that the party should abstain from voting, given the fact the way the opposition's candidate was chosen. Margaret Alva was chosen by the opposition camp without consulting the Trinamool Congress. Under the circumstances, the Trinamool Congress would choose to abstain from voting. The Abhishek Banerjee, of course, made it very clear that there is no question of supporting the NDA candidate, Jagdeep Dhankar, given the fact that the experience that the Trinamool Congress has had with Dhankar during his tenure as the governor of West Bengal is allegedly, according to Abhishek Banerjee, is that of a one-sided view that he had taken always in support of the BJP, is what the Trinamool Congress or Abhishek Banerjee alleged just a short while back at the press conference. Under the circumstances, since there is no question of supporting Jagdeep Dhankar as the vice president, as a vice president candidate of the NDA, the other normal choice, natural choice, was to take a decision as to whether the party would support Margaret Alva as the vice president's candidate, and the decision at this point in time that the Trinamool Congress has taken is that the party will abstain from voting during the vice presidential election process.
Let's understand the political grammar of it much more. My colleague Marya Shakil is also joining us on the broadcast. Marya, decode this for us. Mamta Banerjee and Jagdeep Dhankar, the kind of relationship they have enjoyed while both were in office when he was the governor and she is the chief minister, it is well known. But TMC says they were not consulted when the name of Margaret Alva was decided.
You know, it's interesting that Mamta Banerjee is saying so, and their entire equation was not really a relationship here, Anusha. It was bitterness and rancor that was playing out between the chief minister and the governor in full public view. And the governor was taking on the chief minister on all possible fronts, you know, from the law and order, questioning her over the law and order, be it the policy, and in every possible way. When Jagdeep Dhankar's name was announced by the NDA, it did come as a surprise on multiple fronts. Mr. Dhankar isn't really any kind of high on symbolism candidature. Yes. It's not really about first. It was more to do with sending a message to the Trinamool Congress. Can TMC really come on board? There were talks also and a huge buzz that there was a meeting that took place between Himanta Biswa Sarma, who is the Chief Minister of Assam, and Mamta Banerjee in Darjeeling. In fact, the journalists in Bengal talk about it a lot. So there was a meeting that took place allegedly. Was there some understanding that was reached between the two sides? We really do not know. But the fact that Mamta Banerjee is not backing the opposition nominee in Margaret Alva, but choosing to abstain in itself is a huge signal of softening of stand. For her to not really come out openly in Jagdeep Dhankar was perhaps really expected, because she could not have been seen backing a man who for whom she had demanded a recall of the governor. Yeah. She had written to the centre saying that this governor must be recalled because of the hard stand that he had taken against her government and against her policies. But for her to abstain in itself is a signal which is strong enough of softening of stand, and also it makes a smooth sailing for Jagdeep Dhankar in these vice presidential polls. The numbers are clearly stacked in his favour. Without the NDA partners, the BJP will ensure that Mr. Dhankar is through. But Mamata Banerjee's abstention, the messaging that the TMC, 13 TMC MPs who are in the Rajya Sabha will be abstaining, close to 18 in the, over 20, in fact, in the Lok Sabha will be abstaining in itself is a message that should worry the opposition camp. The fact that Margaret Alva, where we were guessing that because Mamata Banerjee is a woman leader, she would be backing a woman candidate for the vice president. She has chosen otherwise in itself is a huge signal which will be read in multiple ways. Was there some kind of backroom negotiation?
Yeah.
Yes, there was a backroom negotiation, but that understanding has resulted in Mamata Banerjee abstaining, not voting, but abstaining in itself is a huge message.
It's a huge message. Softening of stand. Is there a backdoor understanding? Perhaps there is. In days to come, we'd know what this softening of stand really means for the so-called opposition unity. Shifting our focus back to